lively. It's great. Oh, that was Guillermo del Toro did like a cartoon that my daughter really liked. Uh, something with trolls, something to do with trolls. Anyway, it's great. There's a character that kept
Fraggle
saying
Rock?
lively.
No, that's not a
Fantastic.
cartoon.
No, although Fraggle Rock's one of the things that I remember as being fantastic, but I haven't seen since I was like 8, so I'm not sure.
Probably
That's
best
fair.
it lives there.
Yeah, it's one of those things that
I
I'm
don't
not going
know.
to
Jim
investigate.
Henson, he was pretty ahead of his time. Muppet Christmas Carol is still probably the best rendition of A Christmas Carol ever produced.
I'll second that.
I could agree
I will third that.
wholeheartedly. Yeah, that was
Marley and Marley?
Great...
Good musical number.
What was the one with Bill Murray? There was a Christmas Carol with Bill Murray. Do you remember that?
Scrooged.
Yes, Scrooge.
Maybe.
I remember thinking
Scrooge,
that was good,
something
but I
like that.
imagine like going back and watching that now, I'd be like, oh, that was probably pretty messed up, actually, in a lot of ways.
The recent one with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, I think it's like Spirit or Spirited or something like that, was a pretty cool take on it. That came out last year, I think.
There's a new
I've
Christmas
never
Carol.
heard
I would
anything about
definitely
that.
watch that.
I haven't heard of it.
It's an adaptation. It's definitely not
Okay.
like the story of the Christmas Carol, but it's the basic premise is like someone's assigned the role of Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, Future, and it's like a bureau they work for where every year they got to do the Christmas Carol thing to somebody at Christmas.
So that it's like
a
Cabin in the Woods, but for a
deconstruction.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta say spoiler. Hold on, we gotta say spoilers for things like this because I don't.
Well-
I've never watched Cabin in the Woods, although I'm not going to watch it either. So, not the end of the
They
world.
make it pretty obvious from pretty much from the get-go.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Funny thing about Cabin in the Woods. I don't know if I don't think I said this. This didn't come up in an earlier episode. If it did, hey, I apologize.
Bonus info.
Yeah. Cabin in the Woods, where the stoner guy parks his car and comes out and like flips up his weird like coffee mug bong. That was my parking spot for so long. I was not allowed to park there while they were filming. That was in front of my at the time girlfriend's house.
Your parking spot's 15-minute of fame.
Yeah. The weird thing is my car looked just like his. So they probably saw that, took a picture of my car and thought, that works. That guy looks like he could be a stoner.
That dude.
So I feel like I had
for sure.
I did not, and I still don't. But I feel like I was partially an inspiration for the stoner character for Cabin in the Woods.
Nice.
Come to Heroes Die, where you'll get the true IMDb behind all
Okay.
your favorite movies.
Yep. This is the shit
credit,
you'll
the
never hear.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're real facts.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah. You know, I've been rewatching Psych. Does anyone watch Psych? Yeah, I know, Paul. I know you do, right?
Absolutely. It's one
Yeah.
of my favorite shows.
So like I'm rewatching like the early seasons. Actually, there's a lot of like that like weird like out of nowhere misogyny. Like just kind of you're like, oh man, it's like it's funny how jarring it is now. And like that's not even that old a show. Right?
What year was it made?
No,
I don't know.
it,
It, was
2000s.
it must have been 90s.
early
Yeah, early
2000s.
2000s.
No, it was early 2000s. The same thing happened when I went back and watched Gilmore Girls. Like
Oh yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
some of your favorite shows that you watched like at the time, and don't get me wrong, like I still enjoy watching them, but like there's a lot of problematic things that come up and you're like, wow, I didn't even notice this when I was watching it the first time.
It was weird seeing a young Jared Padalecki. That's for sure.
Yeah, it really bothered me that he plays a character named Dean
Yeah.
in Gilmore
and then
Girls.
His brother
And
is
then
Dean in
he
Supernatural.
plays a character who's got a brother named Dean in Supernatural. I was like, took me a little bit to get used to that.
And you're
Well, you
early
see-
on in your supernatural journey, right?
I am like I'm in season 4.
Okay,
yeah,
so you're
I
still in
just-
what was supposed to be just the canon of it. Yeah.
I just watched I think it's called like Monster Movie episode where the whole thing's
Oh,
in like black
yes.
and white, and
Yeah, that was
there's
a
all
good
these
one.
parodies of the old monster movies. I'm not going to give a spoiler in case anyone hasn't seen it, but what the
That's fair.
actual monster is. But
die.
I love it though; it's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of
There's-
fun.
Oh man, Almost had I had a chance to go on the set, and then I screwed up because I lost the phone number of the guy who owns all the trailers that the actors use in all of BC.
I thought you were gonna say your parking spot lost its +1. You're like, I'm sorry, man. I can't
No.
get you in.
No. Parking spot being taken is only for Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah. Well, I probably should have started with this. Hey, folks, a little early. We're just doing our pre-stream warm-up chat. So thanks for hanging out. You are watching. You're watching episode 4 of By Any Means, a little mini series within the world of Best Left Buried. I hope you enjoy it. We're hoping that today is going to be a really exciting episode, but we're not going to get to it for another couple of minutes. So thanks for hanging out, and then we'll do proper introductions in a minute.
I like to think that there was someone being like, what am I watching right now? Like, what is this?
It says they're streaming D&D, but they're just talking about supernatural.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem. I don't
Honestly,
see a problem with that.
Dungeons and movie reviews. Yeah.
Yep.
That's that's taken. We're taking that.
Yeah.
New series coming to a theater near you. By theater, I mean your computer screen, and by coming soon, maybe, probably not. No. Someone will do it. Someone's already done it.
Oh, you're
I was
gonna have
gonna
to
say, it's
workshop
probably out there
that
somewhere.
pitch a bit.
Yeah. It kind of falls apart in the second half there.
God, excited for my new office. I think that's what I'm really waiting for.
What kind of
How's the
renovations you doing in between grilling
soundproofing?
steaks with your rebellious Home Alone self?
Yeah, I had like a little kitchenette in the basement. I no longer have a little kitchenette in the basement. That's gone. And
You're
I'm about
minus
to have a
kitchenette?
built-in bookshelf, which I'm really excited about. That's really about the whole thing. Built-in bookshelf and no more kitchenette and new floors.
Nice. Carpet, hardwood, laminate? What are you
Laminate,
doing?
yeah. So it's
Okay.
the basement, and I'm concerned about flooding, so we're doing that. That
Yeah.
fake wood looking stuff.
Yeah.
The
So it looks
classy
good,
vinyl.
feels good.
Classy vinyl.
Yeah. I was in a building recently that it looked like it had a hardwood floor, but it was carpet. Carpet made to look like hardwood floor, where it was in strips too, the same size as like the individual pieces of hardwood flooring. Yeah.
I hate it.
That's a
Yeah,
strange
it was-
choice.
I
It
hate
was for
that.
like a senior living center. So I guess it's softer for the feet, more impact absorbing, but walking down the hall was just like something feels horribly wrong. And it took until I was leaving to realize that it was actually carpet, not just weirdly plush wood.
I mean, I hate it less if there's an actual good reason for it.
Yeah.
But
I think
Right.
they just
it would
wanted the
not be
look
my
of hardwood,
choice.
but this soft, probably in case somebody falls or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to do the opposite and have a hardwood floor that looks like shag carpet. So like it
Oh
looks
my
soft and
God.
fluffy, but it's really like thick and like almost plasticky when you step on it. I don't know what the purpose would be, but
You can't walk barefoot on it.
No,
Yeah.
you
It
cannot take
hurts.
off your shoes in that house. That's
Splinters.
evil. Oh, just make it out of steel wool. Just razor wire carpet.
All right, and I think we're gonna stop at razor wire carpet and begin episode 4 of By Any Means. Hello, folks, and welcome now officially to episode 4 of By Any Means. We are your Heroes Die show and cast. Great to see you. I am Jason. I am the game master or dungeon master, depending on your preferred terminology for this episode. And I'm joined by our amazing cast. We're going to start on our left with everybody, or on my left, with everybody introducing themselves instead of each other, with Andrew.
Ooh, boy. So, hi, if you've been following along, hopefully you know who I am by now. But if you don't, my voice, not this voice, but one of my voices is pretty familiar. I'm the voice of the intro to the regular Best Left Buried programming on this channel. I'm going to be playing Gilborn Gruffborn, just, friendly wise, known as Gil. A kind of tinkerer, kind of afraid, almost, I'd call him the Shaggy of the group. He's a half elf among dwarves, but with his dwarven father. He considers himself one of the dwarves.
Wow. Okay, I don't know how to follow that. um, Hello, I am Paula, and I am playing Grenda Greybeard today. She is the oldest of the bunch, and she is the second in command. Um, she's a tough gal, spits a lot, stares a bit too much, but she is loyal and has a soft, kind heart. Um, and yeah, we're gonna see what happens today. I'm excited.
Hello, I am Josh, and I'll be playing Gron Greentoe, the well-polished paladin captain of the Ironhand Mercenary Company dwarf. Um, he is not a very talkative sort, but charismatic when he needs to be, and he's kind of bossy. But let's see if he can lead his clan to victory today.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, everybody. So with that, let's talk about a couple things. One, if you're watching the show, which you are, if you're hearing, you get my point. You can see this every Saturday from 1 to 4 Central Time here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Heroes Die Show. You can find us on YouTube with a very similar youtube.com/@Heroes Die Show. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, probably Facebook. I don't know if we're on Facebook. Who uses Facebook? No, whatever. That's I think probably I said everything. Patreon, all sorts of places, and we're gonna put links to social media in the chat. So check it out. If you're on YouTube, I don't know, just go Google it. You'll figure it out. Um, there's a Discord. We have a community on Discord. We love interacting with folks in that community. In fact, if you're jonesing for a little bit of what's been going on with the Best Left Buried folks, you're going to find that over in Discord. So check it out. It's pretty cool. Want to say some thanks to that music you're not hearing, but will be hearing in a minute. That's coming from our friends over at Tabletop Audio. Help set the ambiance. It's good for home games. It's good for stream games. It's good for, whatever. If you're tired of lo-fi and you want to listen to just some scary stuff, some high seas adventure while you're typing up your reports. I did it the other day. I felt really dramatic. It's good. So proposals got a little extra spice on them. Check out tabletopaudio.com. I think that's it. So we're gonna send you over to our intro, and we will be right back. See you in a second.
Ah, old friend, you're here again. So glad you could stop by. Come, sit a while and let's begin. The tale of heroes die. In distant lands are stories made with villains most despised. A tale of magic, strength, and blade, of camaraderie and lies. It's one I know quite well, you see. Perhaps you'll find out why. The legends and the histories remember. Heroes die.
Okay, and we are back.
Yeah.
We are back. So let's start with a little what happened last time, shall we? So if I recall correctly, and Cast, feel free to correct me, as I don't want to get this too far off the mark. But if I recall correctly, last time y'all fought your way to you fought your way further into the Barrow Lands, right? In fact, breaching that second marker. As you did so, or after doing so, um, you were told. So you start heading back, and one of the apprentices, I believe it was Thorn Darkwater, the half orc mage's apprentice, the guy always carrying that fancy rapier around, came and got you, and he told you that the ritual was proceeding, but that someone needed to find this site, this center, this nexus of power, and specifically look for an arcane symbol etched into a metal plate of some variety, right? And you went out looking for it. At the same time, I know this. The red snakes and the silver talons were also looking through the darkness. You have your wand that clears out the mists around you. Also has the ability to send up a flare. And as you were searching, you didn't find the symbol, but you did see a flare go off. And it turns out the red snakes had located this plaza, this fairly large 40 by 40 or 60 by 60 plaza that was big. It was covered with old stone, not covered. It was surrounded by these old stone pillars, very very like Greek architecture style stone pillars. Some of them had toppled, but many of them were intact. Inside was this dipped down stone plaza, and in the center was a pedestal with that metal plate with the inscription of the triangle with a little trident in it. You got there and you helped the red snakes hold the plaza, and again you were ambushed. This time by animated suits of armor that attacked you. And in fact, the fight was so fierce that Gron was knocked down again. Right? You find yourselves now, or sorry, you finished that conflict. You found that the leader of that group of animated armor, that when you destroyed it, you were able to destroy the rest of them. So you managed to get through this combat, even though you'd had some setbacks. And then finally, reinforcements arrived. First, the Silver Talons, where you met Captain Radish Thimblefoot, a name that I'm particularly proud of. You met Captain Radish Thimblefoot, a pistol packing gnome, and his company of mercenaries. And not long after, the Cerberus Assembly mages and a complement of Crownsguard arrived to help secure the site. And we join you back there in the action. Does that sound consistent with what everybody remembers?
It does. The only thing I think you
Yeah.
missed was Radish's awesome mustache. I think it deserves a special highlight and shout out. But other than that, nailed it.
Gil wants to steal it.
Yeah, Gil did want to steal it, and honestly, I'm humiliated that I didn't realize that. Like it's an obvious one. Radish did
okay.
have a
Yep.
full twisty mustache, you know.
Yep.
Gil, actually, you offered him some mustache wax, did you not?
No. Gron gave him his
Gron
mustache
gave him
wax.
some of
wax,
his,
right.
his, yep.
In a moment of need as well, with your mustache being frayed and in disarray, and you need to be oiled up.
Right? Don't we all, though?
I'm
in
a
sense?
selfless leader. What can I say?
Sometimes we all got to grease ourselves up just a little bit.
It happens. It's called self-care, folks. Now, I had
It's
forgotten,
called a stick of
actually.
butter.
You'd also seen that the captain of the Red Snakes, Captain Zhang, was badly injured. And had taken what seemed to be a mortal wound. But in a very selfless moment, one of you, Gil,
Used my last spell
used your
slot.
last spell slot to provide him with some healing. And with that, we return to the adventure. So you find yourselves there in this plaza as the Archmage, Delilah Blackthorn, as she walks in with her Cerberus Assembly mages and the Crownsguard, or I'm sorry, the Righteous Brand soldiers, right? Because these are the proper military soldiers, not just city guards. As she walked into the plaza, there was this of wind as all the mist was pushed out. And even though you don't feel that constant current of wind that your wands generate, there has been no return of the fog. In fact, it seems to be stopped at the pillars that surround this place. Now that the area is clear, you can see a little bit better. These stone pillars, they're large, they're mostly intact. It looks like 4 of them have crumbled in places, but otherwise they're all holding their shape really well. The floor, it's an old stone tile that seems fairly well spread throughout, right? And there's some stairs that dip down. So this whole thing is like kind of a cut in. In the center, there is this dais, and there on the dais you have the symbol. As she walks in, the dais itself begins to crackle with magical energy. Magus Redwood, turns to the mercenaries and goes, "Need all of you hold the position while we resume the ritual here at this location. We'll have further instructions soon." Magus Redwood and the Archmage and the 2 other apprentices go over to that central pedestal. They stand around it, and you can see the Archmage begin a magical incantation. Her voice rises and cuts through loudly. You hear the other 3 chanting in rhythm as she continues. Energy begins to crackle around the pillars. You see lightning flicking from pillar to pillar, and you can see energy almost transferring through the ground, at sometimes almost lighting the stones underneath your feet. As this continues, you hear the chanting rise to a clear crescendo point. And as it does, a light shoots back out into the ground, right, reflects out, and then you see the pillars all begin to electrify. You see lightning and electricity shooting between these pillars, actively. You can still hear the movement and the spirits out from beyond, or whatever it is, out from beyond this point. But it now looks like there's almost a constant barrier of lightning around this plaza. And the noise, the crackling noise of the electricity, right, it's so loud that you have to raise your voice now just to speak to each other. The mages step away from the central pillar, and they call you back in, and they call the mercenaries back in. No one's objecting. Y'all are going to head over, right?
Yeah, we follow.
As you head over, or in fact, wait, I missed something. As you feel the place begin to energize, you feel a wave of magical power pour through this location. Gil and Gron, I would like you each to roll me a d20 and add your spellcasting attribute modifier to it.
Oh boy. Oh, I didn't have my dice ready. Oh no.
Nat 1 for a 3.
Grun, no.
I'm getting it out of the way early. It's okay.
Oh,
All right, here we go. Where's my D20? That's not a D20 at all.
we're professionals.
That was just a regular D20.
Yes, plus your spellcasting attribute modifier.
That is a 10.
A 10. Okay. Gil, why don't you roll me a d6? Gron, why don't you roll me a d4?
I got a 2.
3.
Okay. Okay. Gil, you are able to recoup. So you feel that magical energy coming through, and you take a moment and you feel it pass over you, and you're able to hold some of it as it passes over you, and you regain 4 total spell slots.
Now
Total
is that 4 levels?
of spell. Yeah, 4 levels of spell. Ron, unfortunately, you're only able to capture 1.
I will absolutely take it.
That's super cool.
You're there for the moment of the activation of this 1,000-plus-year-old site, and the magical energy released was so potent that you were able to try and grab some of it and restore your own magical power. The Archmage looks out at you, and she goes, "Great work, everyone. I appreciate you finding and holding this location. Red snakes, silver talons. You were to hold this site and stay here as the rest of the Magi continue the ritual, right? In fact, you see that the apprentices are still there, still doing something at that central point, right? Again, since they've been doing the ritual, you've seen the Barrow Lands begin to respond, as if something has been injected, something has changed, right? And you can't really see beyond where you're at. The mists are very thick at this point, but there's been something going on. And she looks at you and she goes, "Gron, are your Ironhand mercenaries ready to move forward?"
We're ready.
Okay, Captain. And one of the righteous brand soldiers walks over and passes you a bandolier. The bandolier contains eight little red vials. These are healing potions. You have 2 potions of greater healing, and you have 6 potions of healing in your bandolier. She goes, "We'll wait here to continue the ritual, and then I need you to push on, and you're taking Magus Redwood here with you." And you see
Alright,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
All right then. Where should we be taking him?
You will locate the central tomb.
All right then.
Gil,
Um,
one thing you've noticed as you've gone further into the barrows, that voice that you began hearing, earlier, has been louder, right? Gron, actually, could I get a insight check from you?
ten.
10. Okay, great. So you don't notice anything in particular there. But Gil, you've noticed that the voice is getting louder, more insistent. You are being beckoned to the center of the barrows,
Okay.
the center of the Barrow Land.
I look to the Magus and then look to the rest of the crew and. All right. Suppose we should get a move on. Not sure how long they'll be wiggling their fingers in there, but I suppose we should get to where we're supposed to be then, eh?
Magus Redwood looks at you. He goes, "You have a little time if you need to rest."
Oh, that would be lovely, actually. How much time we got?
I imagine I can get an hour or two. Let me speak to the Archmage. You look a
Oh,
little
brilliant.
wounded. Maybe I can get bandaged up.
That'd be much appreciated.
He snaps his fingers at one of the guard captains. He goes, "See what healing you can provide these folk." And you see him walk over and begin conferring with the Archmage.
Yeah, Gron goes from being like at attention captain mode, ready to head out, and then as soon as he hears we can have a break, he just like sets his warhammer down and just like sits on the ground and tries to catch his breath. Even just being at attention for that long is making him a bit winded.
Yeah, Brug and Drog are pretty heavily injured. Drog's looking much worse for wear.
I will give all 3. I'm gonna like divvy up the bandolier just so it's not all in one place, and I'm gonna give the 3 not us dwarfs one of the lesser healing potions each. I'm gonna give myself and Gil the greater healing potions just because historically we've taken the most damage.
Grinda
then I'll
would
give-
insist on it.
Yeah, and
That's
I
fair.
figured you'd understand, and I'll give Grenda one of the lesser ones as well, or regular.
So to be clear, you gave one healing potion each to Brug, Hilda, and Drog?
Yes,
Okay,
and
great.
Grenda.
Also, the Righteous Brand soldiers come by, right, and they provide some healing. In fact, everyone gets 10 points of healing as they come through and treat you for their wounds, or for your wounds as best they can.
And then in this period of rest, are we able to take a short rest?
You are, yes, absolutely.
Very nice.
You see Magus Redwood talking to the Archmage, and they're off a little bit to the side, but it's obvious even from a distance that there is some tension between them. At one point, their voices are raised, and you hear, "Do you want to kill us all?" And the Archmage looks on, and you can see her begin doing that quiet yell thing. You'll know what I'm talking about, that. And you see Redwood calm himself a little bit and look subdued. If any one of you wants to roll me an insight check, you may.
Probably would.
Yeah, I was gonna say not me. I'm resting. I'm shut eye. So go for it.
Gil doesn't need the short rest after getting twice as much healing as he's got damage. His hit point max is low. Insight is 18.
Yeah. Redwood is pissed. Like he's acting obedient, but that guy is pissed. You can see his hands shaking a little bit as he clenches them and moves away. Like you can tell he's trying to put on a professional demeanor, but he's angry.
Seems like there's a bit of a problem with chain of command, eh?
What? And Gron kind of stirs. Are they squabbling or something?
Oh yeah. I mean, the timeline's been moved up quite a bit. I mean, no, I'm complaining. It's good to get to the center as quick as we can, right? Get this over and done with. Get out of here. But I think there's definitely some not so happy times going on.
Can't blame him if he's gonna come over and try to expect us to escort him. He's gonna get shown up on the battlefield. I can see why he might be a little peeved at having to travel with us.
Hey, yeah.
You hear the voice continue to call out to you, Gil. All variations on that same theme.
You're feeling good enough to head out any moment soon.
Aye, that little bit of shut-eye did me well. I think I'm pretty much ready. How about the lot of you? And Gron stands up, grabs his warhammer, and stands up straight again and looks on at the clan.
All right. You all gain the benefits of your short rest. You see some of the other mercenaries do the same. Like at first, they're very on guard, but as you see that lightning, it continues to crackle around it, and you see it occasionally flash out into the mists, almost as if it is striking at things in the distance. As you get near to finishing your long rest or your short rest, Magus Redwood and the Archmage come over towards you. Archmage looks out, just goes, "Time to go. Now. Let nothing stop you. Find my tomb." And she looks over at Redwood. She goes, "Signal me as you get to it. I want it open, and I want it open tonight. Do you understand?" She looks at you. "Gron, let nothing stop you. The central tomb should be no more than a few hundred feet."
We'll be there in but a moment.
Excellent. She heads over to the central point, the point of the area between the pillars that has the gap, facing the direction of travel you were going, towards that center point. towards that central point. He looks at you all. Like, are you ready?
I believe we are.
Suppose so.
So he walks up to that lightning that's flashing almost constantly, almost like an energy field of lightning shooting back and forth. And she pushes her hands into it, and then spreads her hands open. And as she does, a gap opens that you can walk through. It's not huge.
Is it like parting of the Red Sea style, where it's just like wall of mist on either side? Like
Again, it's the lightning. There's mist
lightning
about
moves.
5 feet out, right? But yes, the lightning is still flashing on either side. But it's like she tore like a slit open in it, right, with her hands.
Just gonna grip the wand and create the wind barrier so that we can disperse the mist around us.
Okay.
Look to the Magus and say, you want us to lead the way and you're somewhere in the middle, or where would you feel most comfortable?
He nods. Lead the way. I'll be with you. And you see him as he steps out. He begins to cast some sort of magical incantations. You see fields of energy spring into existence around him.
All right. I suppose we'll go with a similar marching order with Grenda and I in the front. We'll have... let's put Hilda and Brug in the very back. And then... where would you like to be, Gil?
I'll be middle or front middle, because I'm the central point for the mist dispersal.
Yeah. So we'll say you're right behind us, and next
Probably
to you
for
will
the
be
best.
the Magus. And
What about Drog?
And then he'll be by himself in
We
between.
forgot about Drog.
And that'll be our marching order as we head towards the tomb.
All right. You begin heading out, and within probably 100 feet, you see the mist fall away, begin to thin, and then fall away entirely as you get to what is the central point in these Barrow Lands. As you step in, you see this, it's like strange. There's like this wall of mist around this. It's almost like little like bowl-shaped area, right? And the mist actually like swoops in a little bit, so that it's thicker down below, but it's, it goes 30 feet up as you pass through the wall. You look in, there is barren ground, and there is this old style stone building in the center. It is squat. It looks like there are 4 entry points, 4 like doors with like an alcove, and then there's this central square structure behind it. On top of the structure, you've got this pointed roof, but it goes down like a pyramid, right? Almost like a pyramid, but it's clearly like a tile roof there, and there are no windows on this main building at all. The 4 entryways, right? They've got a door. They've got a bit of open space separated by smaller pillars, and then they've got another door behind it. So you can see in. It'd be hard to pass past one of these entry points without going through the main door. You think you found the center of the Barrow Lands.
Were we supposed to signal after it's open, or just when we've gotten to it?
Redwood looks at you and goes, let me worry about that. Now.
All right.
Let's find this. Let's open this up. Can you, Gron, have your men check for traps? I want to ensure my approach is safe.
All right, you heard him. Let's search around then. And
Trying to look, are the ley lines visible here as they were like without the need for detect magic and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you can see him. It looks like there's 16 lines that connect here at this tomb. They are all radiating out of the tomb.
I'll start like following the lines and trying to like stand back and kind of like tap around with my hammer, but without magic. Just kind of guessing that they would be near ley lines.
Okay. Um, for both you, Gil and Gron, right, you can feel like a tremendous presence of magical energy here. Right? Like there is a source of magical power that is unlike anything you've experienced before in your lives. Right? Like it almost, like the hairs are standing up on your arms, on the back of your head. Like there's almost that feel of static electricity here.
I'll go ahead and cast Divine Sense. Not necessarily going to help with traps, but it'll let me know about the Hallow spell, as well as Celestial Fiends Undead within 60 feet.
This is unhallowed ground, deeply unhallowed ground. Like the strongest sense of it you have ever felt. Right? This is a truly evil and unnatural place.
Seems like maybe this whole place might be a trap.
Regardless, there's definitely great power here. That much is very clear.
Yes. Yeah, I never felt anything like it.
Neither have I. The wave is so thick you can see the ley lines clear as day. It's a damn sight to behold, isn't it?
Aye, it's not the kind of thing we saw back in Uthadorn, that's for sure. I can see why they're so interested in this area, but I do sort of wish we could hurry up with it all.
Can somebody roll me a perception?
I can.
Oh.
That'd be ideal.
Okay. That's 12.
Okay. You think you hear Redwood talking, but when you look at him, he like either closes his mouth or he wasn't talking. It's a little bit unclear. One thing that you notice is the ground around the tomb looks inconsistent with the rest of the ground that you've seen so far. Right? It's some other, like it's dirt, right? Like you've seen everywhere else, but the dirt, or some places dirt, some places cobbles. Here it's all dirt around it. And it doesn't look to be the same soil that you've seen in the rest of it, right? And notably, there are no stalagmites in this area at all, right? And it is totally dry.
Can I tell?
In fact, as you touch it, there's sand here, right? This is hard packed sand, but sand.
Weird.
Grinda I'm going to ask something. Was Gil hearing that voice like the whole time we were on our way here?
He's been hearing it since the opening the second barrow.
Gil, would you have been hiding it well, or would it have been a little bit more obvious that something was wrong?
Well, up to you, Gil.
I don't know. I mean, at first he was pretty obvious about it. Now he's just kind of, it's there in the back of his mind. He's trying to just go about it. But there's been a few times where, as people are talking, he's not quite paying full attention. He seems like ever so slightly distracted during times where he's not hyper focused on safety.
So as they're looking around, Grenda will kind of just walk up to Gil and give him like a hard look for a sec. Are you feeling all right?
I feel quite fine. Why do you ask? Oh, right, that's why. Pull out Grinda's flask. I meant to give it back to you. I really did. So, it's... I needed a bit of a nip earlier.
Look, you keep it for now. After
Okay.
this is over, I'll get it back from you. I just want to say, stay sharp. She'll lower her voice and step closer. That Magus, whoever he is, I don't trust him.
Oh, no. See, I don't trust him either. I don't think he likes being on the front lines with us expendable folk. I think he thinks he's a bit above us. I suppose pay-wise he might be, but feck.
When push comes to shove, he'll not be loyal.
Oh, aye, yay.
Just keep an eye on him. I think I heard him, like, saying something. I don't know.
Probably muttering some kind of arcane thing. We're a wee bit far for a message. It's quite a simple spell, but there's more powerful long distance communication magics. He's probably just using something like that. Most of it involves whispering.
I thought you might know, so just
I don't have spells like that. I don't necessarily know them myself.
Just keep your eye out, alright?
We've got your back. We've got all of our backs.
I've got yours. We're gonna make it through.
As long as nothing hits me, I should be okay.
Well,
if
it does, we've got some healing. She'll pull out the flask or not the flask, the healing potion. Just look at it and I think you better take this.
No.
I'm
fine. No. I managed to siphon a wee bit of magic from the ritual back there.
Did you?
I did. So if I need a bit of protection, I'm doing pretty okay right now. Okay.
I don't want to have to save you.
If I put this in the way that's as honest as I've ever been in it, as much as it fucking terrifies me to say it like this. If I need to use, pulls out the potion bottle. If I need to use this, it's probably gonna happen too fast for me to be able to use it. So having two on me is just, I've got a lot of defensive magics. I can protect myself from getting hurt at all. I can't take a hit like you can.
Well, that's for sure. All right. She'll put it back in her pocket.
If we each have one, we can help each other just in case anything goes wrong, right? Nothing's gonna go wrong.
Okay, so for approaching the tomb, y'all are gonna go clear the way, or try and clear the way for Redwood here. So let's go ahead and talk about what are we doing to get up there, right? So you've got Hilda, Brug, and Drog who can act as little minesweepers. We've got things we can do like perception or arcana to try and feel where these magical traps might be. What do we want to be doing here? I'm sure there are other suggestions that I didn't think of.
I think I will. I'll use a spell I haven't used before. I'll start using Thorn Whip to smack the ground 30 feet away. Just creating these spectral vines to see if I set off any traps, and hopefully with 30 feet, I might be out of range of them.
Okay.
Of course, not near other people. But yeah.
All right, roll me an investigation with advantage. This is clever. I like it.
Ooh. Oh, actually, that's okay. That's pretty good. Investigation. That is 22.
22, great. So you're able to find a path towards so you're able to check your path down towards one of these 4 entrances. Right? It seems like they're on the 4 cardinal directions as you go. Nothing gets set off in your way, but you notice as you begin hitting that hard packed sand, there are puffs of sand coming up as you move. But you're leading a way down where at least nothing has exploded as you go. Brenda or Gran, any way that y'all want to contribute to this?
Ron is going to try to search around for a rock, big rock, like 2 hands, has some weight to it, and similar to the vines, but he's just throwing the rock, letting it land, moving up to the rock, throwing the rock, and trying to just set off any landmines or the things that they stepped on earlier, but just kind of throwing. If there's more than one rock, he'll just, throw them in multiple directions, but just trying to clear the way with rock throwing.
Okay, give me a perception. See if we notice anything interesting while we're throwing our rocks.
10.
10. Okay. You don't notice anything interesting. Grenda, Gil's whipping the ground. Gron's throwing rocks. What do we got?
Typical Tuesday afternoon.
Typical Tuesday.
I don't know. This is tough. I guess she could just, take her war pick and kind of, reach out and use it to pick the ground. But other than that,
You're just disturbing the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, roll me a perception too.
That's an 8.
Great. Yeah. All right. So y'all don't notice anything interesting, but with Gil's help, we make it up to the place to the temple, and you don't set off any magical explosions. So, hooray!
No more fireballs.
Yeah. All right. So you get there. There's this entryway area, right? Again, more writing on the central tomb, right? There's writing up on the door overlooking it. You hear Magus Redwood muttering to himself under his breath as he gets up there, and he looks dazed for a minute, and he shakes it off, and he goes, all right, let's see what we've got here. And he begins casting a spell. Like, well, I'm not sure how to get this open. Give me a minute. And he stands back, and he begins an incantation and faces the door. Maybe I'll want to do anything.
What is you said there was writing above the door?
Yes.
Is it a language we speak?
It is not. Gil, you recognize it as that same Telkuri language you saw earlier.
Yeah. Just as Magus Redwood is casting the spell, just kind of back up a bit, kind of stand next to him. You hearing the voice too, then?
He looks at you, and he looks at you sharply, and it is not a friendly look at all. And then he goes, No. This is important work. Step away.
Yeah. All right. It's kind of important if you're hearing, something calling to you to come into the tomb, like I'm hearing. Don't have to be a dick about it. As I'm just slowly walking away.
Gronz
Yeah.
turns and sees their little interaction, doesn't really hear what's going on, but sees that he's casting and looks up at the writing and then to Grenda and just says, I think I've been down here long enough, I might be picking up some of the language. Pretty sure that says Barrow Lands Welcome Center. Inquire inside for our deals. I think I'm pretty sure I can translate.
Greta just kind of gives him a look and then you see the barest of smiles on her face.
As you see the mage continue his incantations, you can see symbols begin to appear in the air beside him, and then there is this flash and this sound as something impacts against the door, and you see it shudder. And the magus stumbles back. As he does so, from the top of the temple, you see a pillar of light shoot up into the ceiling above, and now the cavern ceiling, which at this point looks like it's a few hundred feet up, you see it's illuminated as this bright beam of light just sits there and holds in the air between this tomb and the light. In fact, now that you're looking at it, there are lines of light all over the top of that roof, that pyramid-shaped roof, circling down, and they go all the way down the structure and touch the points where the ley lines intersect with this building.
I wonder, did they build this first and the magic came, or did they build it here because the magic was there? And kind of looked at Gil.
This is too specific to have been built coincidentally with 16 ley lines are going to intersect. This is on purpose.
It's kind of what I thought. It's really a marvel. It's a shame that the neighbors are so unwelcoming.
I don't think the neighbours are going to be the biggest concern that we've got. There's something evil about this place. And I don't think that light's a good sign. It's light, sure, welcoming underground, but I'm pretty sure something evil's waking up in there.
Yeah, I don't have a great feeling about this either.
Gil, as you're talking, right around the tomb, right, there's this layer where the ground is hard packed sand, right, and then as you get to the tomb, so where you're at now, about 5 feet from the door and in a circle around it, it's back to that stone and dirt, right, so the normal material that you've been seeing. You hear a very faint hissing or rustling sound, and as you look back and you try and figure out where it's coming from, you can see in that hard packed sand some holes beginning to appear, and sand is starting to pour down the holes.
Everyone get off the sand. Get right up against the building here. Get on the solid ground.
You heard him. Move.
Yeah, your crew is quick to move and get up against the building, and you look at now, seeing it, there's a bunch, maybe a couple, from here you can see easily a dozen of these little holes, and they're starting to create little bigger holes in the sand. It's not big yet, right? Like there's nothing bigger than like a bowl for cereal, right? But it's continuing to move down, right? It doesn't seem to be very regularly spaced.
Did Redwood move with us?
So
or is he
Redwood-
still in the sand?
Redwood seemed to get really frustrated, and he stumbled back. And you see him now again. He's casting something. He's performing another spell. This one seeming very complicated, and he's louder, and there's a lot more intensity as he does it. In fact, you can see sweat on his forehead coming down him. And again, the Barrow Lands are cold, colder than the rest of the area has been, right? By a significant margin. But he is sweating as he stands there. His fine uniform starting to look a little more disheveled. You hear some voices out in the mist, back the way you came. Anything you'd like to do?
Who's out there? Kind of call out.
Yeah, no one answers you immediately. It sounds like folks are somewhat distant.
I don't know what's causing those little sinkholes, but it's either the ground underneath is opening up, or there's things down there opening their mouths.
Yeah, you might want to get on with it, Redwood.
You see the door shudder again, and this time loud. Right, dust shakes off the building. Dust shakes off the building as it hammers against something, and Redwood staggers again. The door looks like it moved, but it hasn't opened yet. He curses, and he goes, "Gil, come here, aid me."
Do you have an angle you could do it from not on the sand? If you haven't noticed, the ground is sinking all around you.
What? And he begins looking down at the ground, and he starts seeing some of the sinkholes. He goes, "We can't worry about that now. We have to get it open. Come."
Feck me. All right. Rush over.
As you
Gotta make it
go
quick.
over, he holds out his hand to take your hand, and as he does so, you begin hearing some of that sound of the lightning crackling that you were hearing before at that plaza, and you see the Archmage, Delilah Blackthorn, step out of the mist, surrounded by a complement of the Righteous Brand soldiers. She's got about 6 with her, and she's striding confidently, and there is lightning crackling all around her. She steps down, her face looks fearsome, and she goes, "Redwood! I said signal me!" And she begins stomping down. As she walks across the sand, you see some of that sand draining begin to accelerate, and she just passes through it. Like ignoring it. The soldiers around her look really uncomfortable. Right? Uncomfortable, nervous. So there's 4 of them that are wearing, very good, Righteous Brand breastplate, armor, nice uniforms. They're carrying these new powder weapons that they have, and the other 2 look like knights, more traditional knights, plate armor, all that stuff, feathers on the helmets, that whole deal. But the folks whose faces you can see are looking nervous. Redwood glares at Blackthorn as she comes up, but he steps aside. And Gil, do you move out of the way?
Yeah, I'll kind of look to him before moving out of the way to start kind of trying to head back to the solid ground. Just look to Redwood. I asked if I should signal her, and you said you would take care of it.
Just quiet. She doesn't seem to notice. She's super focused on the door. In fact, as she walks in, you don't see her take her eyes off the tomb, except for a momentary glance towards Redwood. She reaches out her hand, still lightning crackling around her, and points at the door, and then pulls away. And as she does so, there is a explosion as that door is ripped from the frame, and flung back into the mists. This stone door, it had to be 6-inch thick stone door inside a stone enclosure, gets ripped out of place. Then she reaches back again with the other hand and begins pushing. And inside this, now that you can see in more clearly, there's another sturdier, now 10-foot tall stone door within this enclosure. You hear a grinding as it slowly begins to push open. It's one of the doors that slides sideways, kind of like we'd see in a mall or a 7-Eleven, except for thick and made of stone. And it begins grinding. And she goes, Gron, take your men, head inside. Redwood, you're with me.
Let's move, and start trying to usher my folks inside.
The door is
ground in there
slowly opening.
solid.
Oh, sorry.
Just hopefully the ground in there is solid.
Yeah. Taking another look before you head in, Gil. Like the sand now is starting to accelerate the rate at which it is draining, right? And now there's more and more of these things. In fact, you see the guards looking around, and they're looking much like they're looking in concern at this line of sand. As the door continues opening, you can feel a rumble deep within the ground, and there is a little earthquake that shakes the ground around you. So as to get in, right, you've got this little alcove. Now it's been blown out a little bit as she ripped this door out of the space. It's been blown open a little bit. Do y'all want to kind of crowd around in there and wait for the door to open? Do you want to wait for the door to open, head in? Like, what's our thinking? So you've got about 4 feet in front of this, especially now that it's been busted open. You've got 4 feet in front of this door in this alcove that is solid stone, and then past that there is the now draining sand. It looks overall like it's lost about 6 inches on the rock so far.
I think especially with the Archmage's insistence, I'd be trying to move as quickly as possible. Not really
Okay.
waiting around to see what happens, but trying to get to where she directed us to go.
Great. The door begins to open, but it's opening slowly, and you can see her concentrating as she does so. Her feet beginning to sink a little into the sand, although she steps forward. Once it's about a foot wide, you can start getting in. It's moving probably an inch a minute, so not fast.
Gron will take the lead, and as he has everybody kind of lined up, all right, let's move through as quickly as we can, and start trying to squeeze his short but portly body through the opening.
Great. You begin to squeeze through the opening, and you finally make it through, and you stand forward, and you're in a room that is like a little entryway, an entryway sort of space, and it is full of dust, and it is full of. You can see on the walls there are stone murals carved into the walls. There is an opening, what looks just to be like a traditional stone door. Handle, everything that could be pulled on the far side. Everything in here is really intricately carved. And there's heavy dust. There's a bunch of old pottery and things in here, and like a little bit of old furniture, but no cloth, nothing like that. Everything is either ceramic or stone.
The carvings, are they depicting any kind of scenes, or are they just like flourishes?
Yeah. As you begin to look, it does look like they are depicting scenes. They're depicting scenes of violence, of battle, and in every one, you see this figure overlooking the battle. This large, somewhat androgynous figure over top of the conflict. There's a series of scenes, right, with this figure over an army. The figure over armies clashing. Then you see the figure being bound and held and wrapped in chains. And finally, the figure being laid into the ground.
Ron will point to the last one with the figure going into the ground and just say, "You think this might be where we are? We are underground."
It's quite likely.
I'm not sure I like the look of them.
Well, either they were just enjoying the view, where they were inspiring the wars. We'll take a moment to kind of inspect the different depictions. Is any of this ringing familiar for any reason?
Roll me a history check.
Oh boy. Let's use the good die for this one. The good die has failed me. I've got a 9.
So you know already that this is, based on the age of the other things you've seen so far, this is Age of Arcanum stuff, right? You know that the Age of Arcanum was famous for being a time of significant magical progress, right? Like there was magic of this age that nobody has replicated since. It was also, right, like in more than one history you've seen, like it was a time of tumult and chaos, right? Like mortals began to rival the gods, right, and raise themselves up. This certainly looks like, if nothing else, right, this looks like some sort of not quite god-like figure, right, being depicted in these scenes, right? And it's not a big stretch to imagine that this is something to do with the story of that figure, right? But the specific details aren't clear to you.
Okay. Whatever's buried here, likely they're real powerful. Probably more powerful than anybody alive today, I'd imagine.
And we're letting it out?
I believe that might be the case. If I would say no, it's just grave robbing, but the damn whispers.
As you think about the Whispers Guild, you realize that they've gone entirely silent. They were your constant companion up until the moment that you entered this tomb.
Doesn't need to whisper anymore because we're here. Whatever that was, it's conscious. And the seals are being broken.
As the door is like continuing to slowly open and we all kind of file in and are having this conversation, I want to try to peek out through the door and see what I can see of the two folks that are outside, Redwood and the Archmage.
Yeah. So you look, and the Archmage has walked up now that the door's about halfway open, and she's much closer. You can see Redwood. Redwood just, like, he's standing a bit behind her, and he is just glaring daggers at her. He's just glaring daggers at her. As she sees you, she sees you, you see her snarl, and she's also sweating, right? Sweat running down her face as she continues to open this door. The door is now almost completely open. She reaches back and she grabs Redwood with a free hand, and you can see him stumble and for a minute there's a shock, and then he begins focusing as well, and the door begins to open a little bit faster.
Wouldn't be surprised if they're hearing voices promising them power as well.
It's troubling. And just kind of shakes his head. All right, Archmates, we're here. What would you have us do now?
She keeps focusing until the door finishes opening. She walks into the tomb. She looks at the soldier. She goes, wait here unless I call for you. She looks at you. She goes, good work, Gron. You're one of the few I could rely on here. I will remember this. She walks over towards the door. Towards the door. You see her cast the spell, and her skin begins to glow with energy. She pulls out a wand. She's got like a little brace. She pulls out a wand from the brace. She stands there. She raises her hand. She goes, open the door.
It has a handle?
Yeah, it has a handle.
Okay. Gron goes and like jiggles it at first to try to just see if there's tension, if it seems like it's locked or something like that, but just feels the door handle.
The mechanism seems to be okay, like old, but okay. Like a good, ought to get it.
All right then. Remember, I'm just following orders and just quickly, just as much as I can, just throw the door open.
Yeah, so you pull it and it cracks, and you're gonna need to yank on it and drag it open.
Corinda will just walk up and give it a kick.
Or it's a pull. So
Oh.
It's coming in towards you. But you can give it a yank with them. Like,
Yeah, I'll just hook my. Is it handle?
yeah, handle. Like the old twisty, like it's like a lever.
Okay. Yeah, I'll help him. I don't
Yeah.
know how we're both gonna grab it, but
You can grab Gron and give him a pull. Like,
Yeah, I
it's
was gonna
heavy.
say, I
Sure,
picture,
yeah.
like heave ho, heave ho.
yeah, I'll do that.
The door pulls open, and you see on the other side a break video, and we'll come back after
Oh my
that.
God. It was an intermission the whole time.
All right, folks.
The voices
we'll
were
see you
saying,
in
"Go
about.
to the lobby."
Get some milk duds.
Get some
We'll
popcorn.
see you in about 10 minutes. Thank you so much for waiting. Stay tuned when we come back to see what's on the other side of this door.
We
All
gonna die.
right? See you in a minute. All right, folks, we ought to be back. And I'm just going to go forward on the assumption that we are back. So we're no longer returning shortly. We have returned. Yeah. Yeah. So once again, I'm Jason. I'm your game master, and you are watching episode 4 of our By Any Means mini series. Kind of a continuation of our Best Left Buried stories or story. So if you actually, before I go into the recap, just want to say a couple things. So one, I want to say thanks. Thanks to our awesome cast for being part of this. Right, it's really cool to be able to play this game with you all, and I'm so thankful that you all are making the time to do this. I also want to say thank you to all of you out there watching. It's a lot of fun to do this show, and knowing that there are folks out there that enjoy it really means a lot to us. Thanks. If you are liking it, there are little buttons, depending on YouTube or Twitch, like follow or subscribe, that let you kind of stay in touch with the show, gives a sense of what people like and don't like. On that note, if you are enjoying it, say hi to us in the chat or go over to our Discord, which will be linked in said aforementioned chat as a place you can join and come chat with us. Love to hear from you. Love to hear what works, what doesn't work, and just kind of stay in touch. Oh yeah, I want to thank all the awesome content creators that make cool stuff around this game that we all love and get to play. Right, like we're playing in the Wildmount setting, which is from the folks over at Critical Role originally. Obviously we're playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, right, which comes from the folks at Wizard of the Coast and all the cool folks that help make that. We use Roll20, we use tabletop audio to play this fun background music that you're hopefully hearing right now. And and no one can hear any of you or the background music because I didn't unmute it. There we go. The background music that you're hearing now. And
So no
also
one
you can
heard
hear
my dad joke.
I know. Quite literally a dad joke. I like that play on the
I'm
Twitter.
assuming
back, I'm
Jason knew exactly what he was doing and was trying to censor you. That's what I'm getting from it.
Oh no, it's begun.
That's true. I am a bit of a control, to be honest. All right, with that, folks, thanks out of the way. I want to tell you what's happened in the first half. It's been a lot of me talking. I'm sorry. We're going to get past that, and we're going to see if we can finally live up to our name as our heroes have finally entered the center of the Barrow Lands. They have opened, or with the help of the Cerberus Assembly Magi, have been able to get into this tomb at the center of the Barrow Lands. There is an intersection of ley lines, lines of magical energy that are been running through this cavern. There is this weird tomb with a pyramid on top that's lit up to the ground. The whole tomb is surrounded by this layer of hard-packed sand that seems to be draining away for some reason. We've had earthquakes. In fact, as you open the door, the ground shakes and rumbles, and from outside you hear a tumult. Tumult? I'm going to say tumult because that feels richer to say. Tumult. So I don't know the proper pronunciation, and I don't care. I'm not going to be corrected on this. A tumult begin outside as something is going on, but the door swings wide. As it does so, you see a bunch of things happen at once. First, you see the Archmage. Reach out, use her wand, and begin immediately to cast out some kind of spell into the center of this tomb. Those of you that are looking in, you see this large central chamber. Within, it's filled. Well, first off, there is a central platform, almost like a big stone bed, like what you might lay a sarcophagus on. The stone, not a pillar. I don't quite know what the right term is. It's not a countertop. You'll get the gist of it. It's like a box, rectangular box, made of stone, things carved in it.
Plinth?
Plinth feels like the right word, but I don't know. We're gonna say plinth because I like it. There's this large stone plinth upon which there is a body. The body of a humanoid that is wrapped and wrapped in chains, covered in friggin' chains. Beyond that, right, there are chains that radiate out from that body to a number of anchor points throughout the chamber. In fact, it doesn't look like you could easily move through that chamber because it is so full of chains. Right, like you'd have to kind of, Catherine Zeta-Jones and entrapment your way through this, right? If you wanted to get in there. Well, it's not lasers, it's chains. But you get my point. So there's a room that is full of these chains, and you can see the Archmage begin casting a spell. Inside the chambers, you open the door, dust puffs out. Dust puffs out with it, and there is a layer of dust on the ground. That sound from outside gets significantly louder. You can see your companions, Brug, Drog, and Hilda, looking around nervously. Brug and Hilda now standing next to each other, pressed up. Hilda's shield arm to Brug's short sword arm. And they're looking around very nervously. The Archmage, her attention not straying at all from the central area. She's casting the spell with one hand, holding out her arm with the other. She says, Gron, you and your men, inside. I need the figure restrained. Don't let it loose.
Gron takes just a beat and just looks at all those chains, and then, all right, then you heard her. Make sure it's restrained. Good job so far. And try to move in.
Yeah, you cross the
out of his way to
threshold.
try to get a little
Yeah,
bit
you cross the
closer.
threshold. You are literally stepping over chains. Like there's got to be, now that you're looking at it, the walls are covered in anchor points. These solid anchor points. The chains are thick. Gil, you remember from the first of those barrows that you went into, the chains themselves, the links, were covered in little writing, looked like arcane symbols. The chains now, some of them begin to glow with their arcane symbols. A few of them looking to heat up. You hear a crack as one chain pulls loose from its mooring. Pulls loose from its mooring. Then another. Then another.
Prepare yourselves. I don't like the look of this.
I thought it was going to be easy to keep it restrained with all those chains, but I think we're fucked.
You hear the Magister say some arcane word as she releases whatever spell she's been holding. A field appears around that central figure, and you can see some of the chains that have begun lighting. The light begins to emanate from the figure and rolls out. And now that you're thinking about it, the ones that snapped, those chains that snapped, were the ones where that light had gone all the way to the end. All the way to the end of the chain, emanating from that central point of the figure there. Now the figure and the chains are held in this ball of energy. And you look and you can see the Archmage clearly radiating power as she holds something, clearly concentrating actively on this magical binding. Are all of you into that central chamber?
I would
So.
think, yeah, I would think so.
Anything in
that's the orders,
particular
yeah.
y'all want to do? You can see of the chains that have come loose, a few are sliding around as if being moved by something.
I want to try to grab one of the chains that have snapped off and try to hold on to it myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a make a so let's go ahead and You're gonna grab it. Roll me an athletics, please.
13.
The chain tries to pull away from you, but you grab it and anchor it in place. Right now, there are 4 snap chains that are loose.
Seeing Gron do this, Grenda will try to grab another chain.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me a grapple attempt there.
It's 11.
Okay, you hold it. It tries to pull against, but again, you anchor it. Do you want? In fact, Drug, Brog, and Hilda are all going to make an attempt to grapple one of these chains. All right, Hilda succeeds. Brug fails. Brug fails, but as he fails, you see Drog like catch in and grab it after him. 4 of these things are now held tight. Brug has been knocked over as an attempt to restrain the chain failed.
Gil, pick him up quick.
All right. So Gil not being strong, I'm going to basically interpose myself between the chained figure and my companions. I'm going to try to help him up. Cast protection from good and evil on myself. So I'm going to be a bulwark to try and protect them and be the first to be hit instead of them.
Yeah. As you go and pull up Brug, a couple things happen. Gron and Grenda, you can see the figure on the... Did we say plinth? Did we agree on plinth as the word? All right. You see the figure on the plinth beginning to writhe in its chains and move. Writhe and move in its chains. Gil, you don't notice this because as you're picking up Brug, you're looking back towards the door and you see the Archmage. You also see behind her Magus Redwood. For the first time, you see him carrying a weapon. He has a small dagger in his hand as he steps up behind the Archmage.
Would I have a moment to do anything?
You have a moment.
I am going to cast Thorn Whip at him to try and pull him into the room.
All right. How does Thorn Whip work?
It's just a spell attack.
Do it.
Oh boy. Natural 20.
Awesome. All right.
There's a bit of piercing damage too as well. That's okay, well. Oh wait, it was a crit. Really? All right. That is for 4d6, that's 8 points of damage. 3 of them were ones. And does he have to... If the creature is larger or smaller, you pull the creature up to 10 feet closer to you.
Yeah,
There's no save. He just... Yeah.
So he's standing there. He puts his hand on the Archmage and he begins getting ready to slide his dagger right into her unprotected side. Your Thorn Whip reaches out, grabs him, and he looks shocked and he looks over you with this hateful look on his face as you drag him 10 feet towards you. The Archmage, her concentration lapses for a moment as this happens, and there's a blink, and 2 more chains rip free of the wall. But she's able to get it back under control and hold the thing in place. Redwood turns and looks to you and begins casting a spell, and we're going to roll some initiative, folks. We're going to roll some initiative, because this music is no longer sufficient.
He shouldn't have been such a dickwad to us.
Oh, my rolls continue with a whopping 4.
Oh no, Josh.
I also have a 4.
I rolled a 13, so that's a little better.
That's lucky. Oh wait, 4 is Japanese is for death.
Bum, bum, bum.
Well,
Foreshadowing.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
That was take an inspiration if you don't have it. If that was on purpose, I need to know if that was on purpose.
It was not.
No, that was
Take
completely
an inspiration
improvised.
for honesty, then. That's enough.
Thank you. I needed that. It'll come in handy when I inevitably have to make death saves. I'm not good
Yeah.
against, this is a spellcaster. I'm not great against saving throws.
All right. So. That's the sound of initiative rolling. All right. Okay. So let me just make sure I've got everyone in initiative. So I've got. Do I have Grenda?
13.
Didn't have Grenda. Close. Braun and Gil, you both got 4s. Nice.
We're in no hurry.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, you're
I've
reacting.
done
slow.
my due diligence.
We want to see what
Uh,
happens.
As the chains break free, you hear from outside. The ground shakes once again. Right. This time violently. And that rumbling just kind of continues. You hear this deep rumbling roar of some massive creature. Can I just get a quick survey of what languages do people speak?
Common Dwarvish.
Common Dwarvish and Elvish.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
Very
Yeah, you hear this.
homogeneous.
You hear this roar. You hear this deep rumbling roar as the ground continues to shake. 2 more of these things are free. Those of you that are holding your chains, they begin pulling at you violently. Right. So for each of you on your turns, those that are holding a chain, the chains are going to try and break free. So that's Hilda, Drog, and I believe Brenda and Gron, right?
Yep.
Okay. And there's two more free right now. All right. Sorry folks, this is note taking, where the exciting part of Dungeons and Dragons, where I remember who's doing what. All right. The Archmage, Delilah Blackthorn. She looks at her assistant and she goes, "Redwood! Betrayer! You will find no place in my new realm." And she begins casting a spell. Yeah. So she begins casting a spell on him. And immediately, as she does so, he does something, and they have a little back and forth wizard moment. A back and forth wizard
Counter
moment.
spell.
But she attacks him with a spell. She attacks him with a spell, and a bolt of lightning goes flying towards him. Unfortunately, Brenda, you and Brug are exactly in this thing's path. So as the lightning shoots out, I'm going to need 2 of you to make me a dexterity saving throw.
I rolled a natural 20
Nice.
for 22.
All right. Hilda unfortunately takes it right in the chest, and is badly hit. As is our friend, Marcus. You take 15 points of lightning damage, and that is halved, so you're only taking half that. You take 15 points of lightning damage as this shoots out. right? Yeah, as this lightning shoots through the room, it blasts the two of you, and as well as Marcus. The ground begins to rumble even more. Right, you're losing your footing, and you can hear something. You can hear the people outside beginning to yell, and there is a shift in air pressure as some massive gust of wind blows into this room. Two of the chains have they've broken free. Grenda, it's your go, but I need you first. To roll me a opposed athletics.
13.
13. So the chain in your grasp breaks free and begins zooming around.
Okay. So what does this thing look like again? This thing that's chained to the plinth?
Yeah. So it's not chained to it. It is wrapped in chains on it. It looks like a little mummified figure, and it's currently surrounded by this globe, this glowing globe. And it's got all these chains radiating off it. Now that you're looking, it's probably 30 chains radiating off it.
But it has like an orb or something around it.
Around it, yeah. It started to move, and you can see it's definitely a mummified body under all that.
Okay. I think Grenda's kind of getting the sense that hitting it might not. Well, she doesn't know. I don't know. I'm gonna try to grab a chain again.
Okay. The chains look like you might be able to crack them too if you wanted to just try and decimate them.
Okay. Could I grab?
That
Could I try to grab one and crack it?
Yeah, there's 3 loose. So you could grab it and then attack it, or you could just start smashing at it.
I want to grab a chain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
were you saying grab the chain and crack the chain? Is that what you were saying?
You could try and grab and hit it with your war pick, or you could just try and hit them.
I thought you were saying like crack the chain, like.
No, I'm sorry. That was a poor choice of words. You could smash the thing that you grabbed, or you could grab one and try and smash a different one.
I will grab the chain. Yeah.
Okay.
The one that I had.
Roll me an opposed athletics, please.
Okay. 13 again.
13. It pulls away from you. You still have one other attack that you can use, or you could try and grab again.
I don't know if I'm supposed to hit this thing or not. Okay. I will try to grab a chain again.
Okay, do it.
19.
19. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you hold it. This is an attack or a grab?
Just grabbing the chain.
Okay. Yep.
She's not going to attack yet.
You've got it held.
Doesn't quite know what to do at this point.
Absolutely.
Does it look like there's anywhere to like the chain ripped out of the wall, right? There's no way to like reattach it to something.
No, it's ripped its attachment point out of the wall. In fact, the little plate that was held in has been pulled out.
So she'll just grab the chain and kind of look around and say, "Are we hitting this thing? What are we doing?" And that's her turn.
Okay. Next, the wizard. Marcus Redwood. Magus Redwood, pardon me. He's a Magus named Marcus. Duh. He begins casting a spell. He begins casting a spell now at the Archmage. And as he does so, this large wall of ice appears and encases the Archmage in ice. encases the Archmage in ice as they attack each other. So you can't see it, right? But something's going on. Something's going on inside the ice. Like you can hear movement as some of it begins to fall down. As some of it begins to fall down. Back. As it does so, you can see the Archmage emerge from the ice, stumbling, and you see the globe around this creature flicker and fall out of existence. It begins to pull itself up on the plinth, still being held by chains. So some of the chains you can see begin binding tighter and holding on, but more chains break loose in the room. More chains break loose in the room and are moving seemingly with a will of their own. Hilda and Drog both lose their grip on the chains and fall back. Both lose their grip on the chains and fall back. Like you, or Brenda, taking your lead, they don't attack anything, but they try again to get a grasp on them. With only Hilda being able to reestablish it. You now have at least 6 loose chains in the room, beginning to whip around like snakes. In fact, the chains begin to grab back. The chains begin to grab back, and chains begin to grab back. One grabs Hilda, one grabs Drog. They reach out and wrap around, so they snake over and wrap around Hilda and Drog, holding them in place. One comes for you, Drog, and you're able to easily, like as it comes over towards you, you just step on it, right? And it seems to be unable to move past you. One comes for you, Brenda. And you're gonna take 11 damage as this thing wraps around you. I need you to make an athletics check.
$13.
13. So it wraps around you, it wraps around your legs, and you are unable to move. This thing is on you so solidly, you can't move.
You said that was 11 points of damage, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Gil, one's coming for you, and one's coming for Marcus. And they miss both of you. So you're able to avoid these grasping chains. Ron, what do you want to do?
Did I notice if any of the chains went for the Archmage, or was it everybody but the Archmage?
Yeah, nothing went for the Archmage yet.
Okay. Gron just surveying as he's like kicks back and lifts his boot off the one that tried to grab him and sees Brenda restrained, and he's gonna let go of the chain that he's holding and run over and try to free her.
Are you gonna attack the chain?
How is it, like wrapped around several times, or would it be something I could like grab hold of and unwind?
It's wrapped around a bit. It's not that solid on her yet, right? So you could help her get out, or you could attack the chain in hopes that you could break her out.
Yeah, I'll attack like as it's coiling around. I'll attack the part that's not coiled around.
Yeah, like on the ground. So there's still
Yeah,
chain on the
exactly.
ground that's wrapping
Yeah,
around her.
exactly.
Absolutely.
All right. Does a 9 hit?
Does not. No.
All right. Take a second swing. 13 hit.
13 hits. Yeah.
All right.
You're on having a banner night for rolls here.
I know my rolls have been on point. For 4 damage.
For 4 damage, you crunch into the chain. Your warhammer is particularly effective. Unfortunately, it does not break.
I got you. Hang on. And that's my turn.
All right. All right, Gil. The figure on the dais is beginning to try and get up. More of these chains have snapped. To the point that almost a third of them are now loose.
Let's hope however many thousands of years it was snapping drained it of something. Alright, I got chains too, bastard! I'll just rub the chains along, just activate Blade Song. How far away is the figure that is chained?
About 10 feet. It's difficult terrain with all the
Oh.
chains in the way.
Oh, okay.
About
I
10
have
feet from it.
40-foot movement speed right now, so I think I can hopefully... Can I...
Yeah,
get
also,
up on top?
Marcus is only probably about... Let's see. He's probably about 20 feet from you in the other direction.
Ooh.
You basically dropped the big snowball on the
Fair.
Archmage.
This is a boy. You know what? She could probably take care of him. Hopefully. There's no surprise knife in the back now, so I've done my work here. I'm going to try and just parkour my way through the chains to get on top of the chained figure.
Nice, yeah, he's restrained, actually. You can attack him with advantage. if you like.
Excellent. Just as I had been doing the whole time that I had been holding the wand before, channel all this thunderous energy right into a good left hook and just bring the fist right down onto his head.
Nice.
Hopefully
yeah.
avoiding a chain and only hitting him.
Right, yeah, go ahead.
All right. Dice. Dice work with me here. Advantage, you say? That's 10.
Yeah, so you go to hit him, and you connect, but this guy is made of something fun. Like you get up there, and you can see under all the chains is a somewhat intact and somewhat rotten face of what clearly looks like it was once a human man, an attractive human man, but a good portion of its face is rotten flesh, and the rest of it looks healthy and vital. As your fist connects with this face, you punch in as hard as you can, and it feels like you're hitting a fucking tree, right? Like it's like the people that punch Terminator in the movies, right? Like it just has no effect. It doesn't even move. Its eyes bore into you. Its eyes bore into you as it focuses on you as you're straddling this thing. Starting your punching. You want to punch again?
That was a booming blade, so I've used my bonus action to Blade Song, so I'm just gonna look this figure in the eyes. Ooh. Presume you heard the voice in my head.
It looks very insane.
Good talk.
Great. Excellent.
Basically winding up for another punch as I end my turn.
All right, so this first round, right, just so we understand what happened, combat started because Gil cleverly reacted to keep Marcus from stabbing Archmage Blackthorn quite literally in the back, or probably in the side, but general point applies. The two wizards immediately got into a conflict, and during that, a lightning bolt blasted out, clearly with little to no regard for the safety, Ron, of your mercenaries, and took Marcus badly in the chest, but also deeply wounded Hilda. And in fact, Hilda, Brug, and Drog are all now wrapped in chains. Or no, sorry, not Brug. Sorry, Hilda and Drog are now wrapped in chains and are being restrained. Hilda's looking bad. Brenda is also caught up, and Gron, you've made an effort to break her free. Oh, right, Gil, you hopped onto this figure in the center and have started just giving him the business. But this is one tough dude, right? You feel like you're punching a tree trunk here. It is, in spite of the frail-looking nature of the body, it is tough. So we restart with the Archmage. You see her after her stumble. She's looking around. She's looking around at the room, and trying to. She has a moment of indecision. As she reviews, what's going on. She reviews what's going on, and then she casts another spell. This time, clearly targeting her disloyal companion. And you can see him. Consumed in fire. As this self-contained immolation occurs where he is standing, and Marcus is burned down to ash in front of you. The ground rumbles. That sound you heard outside gets louder, and you can feel things shake, and you've got the gust of wind, and the flash from outside illuminates into the room. Like a flash of lightning has exploded outside this tomb. All right, Brenda, you're up.
So I'm still restrained. Can I
You're
try
restrained.
to break free?
You can try to attack the chain. You're going to attack with disadvantage because you're restrained.
All right, I will do that. I will attack the chain at disadvantage. It's a natural 1.
Okay. You
Can I
miss.
do it again?
Yes, you may.
Okay. That's a 14.
14 hits.
Okay. For 10 points of damage.
So at first you swing, and between your inability to move well and how rapidly the thing is moving on the floor, this frantic snake-like chain, you miss, but then you pull up again and you just connect with it perfectly, and you break the chain. As you do, the one wrapped around your body falls and goes limp, and only that shard of chain is left flapping around.
So looking up, I see that Gil has jumped up onto the plinth. Can I run up and get into a position basically where I could attack on my next turn
Easily.
from like the
Now,
other
the
side?
further you get in, the more these chains are going to be able to get after you.
Okay. Fair enough.
Right. All right. Your companions, Hilda and Drog, are both going to try desperately to get out here. So Drog swings. Drog swings and is able to connect and break the chain binding him. Hilda makes an attempt and is also able to bust their way out. Two more of the chains have been shortened by these attacks. The figure, Gil, that's under you, it pulls one arm, and the arm comes free. And it reaches out, and it attempts to touch you.
I do have protection from good and evil up.
Okay. It's definitely evil. Does a 14 hit you?
No, it does not. My AC's 19 right now with Blade, so
Nice. Okay. Okay, great. It tries to touch you, but you're moving too fast. That armor protecting you, but it's coming up. You grab it with one hand and you keep it away from you. You can see on its fingers. Its hand, while its forearm is skeletal, the hand is fully fleshed. And that skeletal hand, like you've got the wrist grabbed, it is, you'd think you'd be grabbing bone, but instead you're grabbing something that feels solid, but is really this immaterial field around the bone, as if there's some magical incarnation of the missing flesh.
almost like his flesh is magically being reassembled.
You don't
and is
see
reserving
anything-
the space.
You don't see anything coming back, but the space is being preserved as if it is still there.
Cool, great, awesome. Not horrible at all that he's revitalizing and rehydrating like Ganondorf.
All right, is anyone still bound? None of your companions are.
Nope.
Okay, great. So the chains begin to lash out. One lashes out. One of them, the chain man raises the other arm and breaks another chain, and that lashes out at you, Brenda. That lashes out at you, Brenda. That is a 27 to hit.
Silvery barbs.
Okay.
Just gonna rub my own chains together and sort of just send out this shock wave to disrupt the chain.
That is a 19 to hit, Brenda.
Nope.
Does not hit.
No.
This chain connects with you, and you can feel yourself stagger under the weight of this blow. It is heavy. Are you carrying a shield?
Yes.
Your shield, where it connects, your shield breaks. It's still there, but it is badly damaged. You think in another 2 blows, it will be gone under the weight of this attack.
Oof. Okay. She'll just look over at Gil and give him a little salute with her war pick.
Just as I'm winding up for another punch down, just give a nod. I will send the advantage from Silvery Barbs to the Archmage.
Okay. Another chain wraps around Rug, but all the rest of you, the chains slither and attack at you, but no one else is grasped except for Brug. And it holds him in place. It holds him in place. Gil, your go.
All right. For going, because I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon, hopefully. I don't think he's going to be standing up and walking away. Not putting all the Thunderous energy into one glove. Going for the old 1-2. All right. First punch is dice. Work with me here. This is better. It's a 14.
14.
Yeah.
A 14. Yeah, again, you hit it. It's like punching a tree, right? Like does not even make an input. You like your fist hits into the face and it just doesn't move at all or react. It hurts. This thing is hard.
Well, better to break my knuckles than to go down without a fight. Going in for the right hook. That is 12.
12. Yeah. You do not make an impact.
With advantage, too. Not using those dice anymore. Oh boy. That's me. Just wailing on this guy ineffectively for the moment.
You see the
Just
thing
hoping.
sitting there, still one hand begins moving towards you, but before it does, you see it take in this deep breath as its chest expands. You can see some of the chains snapping around its chest. You can feel all of you. You can feel your life energy being drawn towards this thing as it breathes in. I need everybody to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh no.
Five. I rolled a 3.
Oh no! 16.
14.
All right.
Grind.
What'd you roll, Gil?
14.
Who was the highest roll?
Me, that was 16.
Okay. All of you take 21 points of necrotic damage. You see Hilda. You see Hilda standing there. She's turned towards Brug, and she begins moving towards him as he's wrapped up in the chains. And she stumbles, as you can see energy just pulling away from each of you as it's pulled into this creature. It seems to revitalize it. And she falls dead on the ground. Drog looks almost incapacitated, and Brug, who almost never talks, right, turns and looks at Hilda and falls and just tries to, with the chain still wrapped around him, tries to drag himself over to her body. Gron, you're up.
How far am I from them?
From who?
Hilda and Brooke.
Hilda and Brug, you're 15 feet away from them.
Okay. And it's rough terrain.
It
Or
is no
difficult
longer
terrain?
rough terrain. There's so many
Okay.
chains have broken.
Okay. So yeah, I'll run over and try to take a quick peek. I start just like casting cure wounds, and I want to take a quick peek. Is Hilda gone? Like,
You won't know
Is there-
until you do it. So she's laying there. You saw something, almost like the soul pulled out of her, right? But you saw it happen to all of you as you took
Yeah.
this necrotic damage.
I haven't given you leave yet, and I'm gonna cast cure wounds first level on her
Okay.
for 10 points of healing.
You can hear taking a breath as the healing energy radiates out from you.
Come on, we need all hands on deck. And,
Okay, anything
that's
else
my
from you,
turn.
Gron?
Nope, that's my turn.
All right. Top of the round. Let's get this started. So we find ourselves in an interesting situation, right? This figure, this chained man, this chained man has begun waking and moving. In fact, Gil, as you saw him take in that breath, you do see him seeming become stronger, more whole. You look at those spots of missing flesh, and more of it begins to fill and knit in. He doesn't look quite so dead as he did before. But this figure is now, more of the chains have come loose. You still have over half of the chains moored to the wall, but there is much less than there was before. The Archmage killed or burned up her treacherous assistant Marcus, or Magus Redwood, and he is left as a smoldering pile of ash. Grenda, you broke free. You broke free of your chains, but your companions are in rough shape, with Brug now once again bound up. Gil, it has been a struggle, but hitting this guy does not feel productive at all. He's one tough son of a bitch. And again, Grenda, you felt that whip as he reached out towards you, and his blow strikes hard. Right, your shield is dented and is beginning to, or you can tell is beginning to buckle under the weight of these attacks. The Archmage cries out as she begins to try and reassert control over this creature. She begins to try and reassert control over this creature, and for a moment you see it beginning to lay back, and then it surges forward. It surges forward into an almost sitting position. Now both of its arms free, and you hear Delilah cry out and stumble as she falls to the ground on her hands and knees. Outside, the sound's gotten a little quieter. Whatever's going on has gotten quieter. You no longer feel that rush of air pressure. And then you hear boom, 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 as it sounds like tons of rock have begun hitting into the ground and smashing into the ground around you. You can see the building shake. Dust all over the floor is now up in the air. The chains rattled as these terrible blows smashed against the ground. Brenda, you're up. What would you like to do?
Wow.
No pressure. Right?
Yeah, right. Gosh. So you see Grenda, she stumbles, she's looking really, really rough. She will she'll look over at Gil and take out the healing potion and just say, "I'm glad you let me keep this," and she'll drink it.
So am I.
And that heals for 10, right? Jason?
Yes. I'm sorry.
10. Okay.
Yeah, so healing potions heal for 10. The potions of greater healing heal for 20.
Okay. Can I attack once after doing that?
No, you may not.
So I'm just done.
You can use your bonus action. You can still move.
I don't really think I have anything. Oh, yeah. I've never played a fighter before. Can I use my bonus action to do second wind?
Yes, and you can also action surge if you like.
Oh. Have I already done that? I already did that. Oh, but it's once per short rest, and I've already taken a short rest. Amazing. I love being a fighter. Okay.
They're so good.
So I can do both of those things?
Yes.
Okay, great. I will do both of those things. So action surge will let me
Attack. Twice.
attack twice.
Or reperform your attack. You get another action.
Right, and so that's 2 attacks, and that's at advantage because he's
It's
still
restrained.
restrained. Amazing. Okay. So that is a 25 to hit.
Your pick sinks into this thing, finally doing some damage.
Okay. Yes. 14 points of damage.
Yeah, your blow sinks in, but it sinks in not even maybe an inch at the most into this thing's flesh. And where you hit, bam! It feels like you can feel your arm reverberate as you're hitting into something so solid. You have barely taken a chip out of this thing.
Okay, I'm gonna take another crack at it.
All right.
That is a 19 to hit.
A 19. You hit it again, but you're unable to even pierce its skin.
Holy moly! Okay. I'm gonna look over at Gil and just say, I hit this thing as hard as I could, and I don't think we're gonna do any damage. I'm gonna look over at the Archmage. But if we run, I feel like she could burn us.
I think either way, this thing's getting out of here, and I don't think there's much we can do about it.
Okay, that's all I can do. I guess. Wonder if I should move. I'm gonna stay.
Okay. Yeah, great. You hear your companions begin calling out to each other. Brug turns and begins swinging his axe at the chain that's holding him. And he's able to get it actually on the first blow. So he turns, and just as he rolls, restrained and everything, he has this perfect swing, and he just cuts the chain that's holding him, and it falls loose. He stands up and he grabs Hilda and he starts picking her up. And you can see them look at each other for a moment. Then they turn and lock shields, facing the plinth. But they begin slowly. They take a few steps back, and they're halfway towards the exit. Drog, on the other hand, he charges towards this thing. He just screams. He drops his shield. He charges towards this thing. He takes his two-handed warhammer, and he begins swinging, shouting dwarven curses. He begins swinging, and he misses, and then he connects, and the blow lands right on this thing's head, and you see it make the slightest move as it hits in. It looks like his blow was barely effective. You think, Grenda, that only the magical nature of your pick allowed it to sink in, but Drog is swinging. Drog is swinging and cursing and yelling in Dwarvish. You hear him. He goes, "For the Graf!" As he starts swinging away. You see that figure. He looks over at the Archmage on her hands and knees, and he opens his mouth, and you can feel this magical utterance as he speaks, eyes locked on the Archmage, and the power of whatever thing he says, it shakes all of you to your core, and you see Delilah Blackthorn just sprawl along the floor, dead instantly.
Time to get out of Dodge, y'all.
Right.
We got this.
The chains begin lashing out. First one at Gil. 21, Gil.
Shield. Bring up an arcane barrier to deflect it.
So the chain comes racing towards you and tries to wrap around you, but you pull up your arcane barrier and you stop it. Brenda, a chain reaches out for you. That is a 16. Ron, you got a chain coming your way. That is an 18.
It got me. Just barely, but it got me.
You take 11 points of bludgeoning damage. I need you to make an athletics check.
17.
17. You're just able to keep it from restraining you. 2 chains lash out towards Draw. Both wrap around him. Both wrap around Drog. One grabbing him by the neck, the other holding him in place. And you can see him being pulled apart and suddenly his neck snaps. And they begin pulling at the body, almost trying to tear it in two. And one reaches out for Brug. And it smashes against his shield, but he holds in place, him and Hilda moving towards the door.
They're going to be the 2 survivors.
Gil, your turn.
Since I've been up close with this
You're on it.
This thing, yeah. What does he look like now that he's less mummy and more man?
Looks like a somewhat short human man. You can't tell much about him because a lot of bandages are still on him, and there's still a lot of chain. There's chain pulling against his chest, but he's pulling up against it. There's chain over his legs. There's chains pulled around his arms. But he looks like a fairly average build, short human with a very bonkers look in his eyes. And he's wrapped in old bandages. Again, his face still looks largely decayed, like large sections of decayed flesh, but it looks relatively healthy. Tan skin, can't see any hair. You can't see any hair. It doesn't look like he's wearing any clothing under the rags around him, and he has no other obvious equipment.
Are we staying to try and keep this thing down, or are we gonna get the fuck out of here?
Let's fall back. Fall back. That's an order.
All right. This might be a bad move, but I'm gonna try it. I am going to cast Sanctuary on Brenda.
Okay.
What does that do?
That if anyone, let's see, until you do anything harmful to any other creature, anytime something wants to harm you, it needs to make a wisdom saving throw against my spell save DC. And on a fail, it has to pick someone else to hit. Yeah. AoEs don't care about that, though. You get caught in a fireball, you're still fireball. But they can't target you without passing a wisdom save. Weirdly not concentration, so protection from good and evil still up. And I'm just gonna... I'm gonna give it one more booming blade punch before booking it. Just so if it gets up and follows, it'll at least take a little bit of hurt. Is it still restrained enough?
Still restrained, yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Finally, something decent. Dirty 20.
Yeah. You punch it, and again,
boy.
it's so solid that it looks like you weren't able to impact it.
Oh. Oh. All right.
You try and move away.
Absolutely running away. Yeah. Heading for the door.
As you move away, its hand reaches out to try and grab you. Not an attack, but to hold you. I need you to make... no, it's just going to attack. I'm kidding. I don't think it's going to do that on a reaction. It attacks you. So that is a 29.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Sanctuary is not in concentration, so that will stay up for a 1 minute, even if I die.
Okay. So as it touches you, as it grabs you, as you're moving away, you feel this cold radiate from where its fingers touched you. You're going to take 10 cold damage. I also need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. Let's see. So, 23 for the concentration or Constitution save. And speaking of which, I'll have to make a concentration check. Should have done that earlier for protection from good and evil. Retroactively, that still passes.
Sorry, that was a 26. Okay.
Yeah, that'll still hit. Okay. I gotta make another concentration check for protection from good and evil. Oh yeah, that's like 26. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. That was 10 points, you said, right?
Yes, 10 points. So you just have to roll a 10 or up.
Still up.
All right, so you could feel, as it touched you, you could feel your muscles trying to seize up, but you push through it. That strong dwarven fortitude. You thank your ancestors for your ability to push through this, and you move out towards the door, past the
40-foot movement speed.
Oh, so you go all the way past the body of the Archmage, who is very much dead on the ground. Ron. Oh, sorry. Before that, one of the chains, again, the figure lashes out his arm with now a chain on it, clearly under his control, towards Gron. Ron, that's in the 30s, man.
Yeah, that hits. That hits.
You take 24 bludgeoning
And fall to
damage
the
as this
ground.
thing. So this chain wraps around you, crushing. So you feel Gron. You feel it wrap around it and crush him, and it pulls Gron's body back to it, and begins reeling him up by the chain. Now, the limp form of Gron laying there. Ron, can you make me a death saving throw, please?
Absolutely. 12.
12. All right. Ron, so you succeed on your death saving throw, but considering the situation, before you're dragged over to this thing, is there anything you want to say to your companion?
For the Graf. For the Graf.
All right. Folks, a more somber recap. This round, you found yourself swinging away and attacking this creature. Brenda, you're still over by it, right? And it now is dragging the body of Gron up, chains wrapped around him as it pulls it up on the plinth. You're sitting there, your powerful pick, Skull Splitter, failing now to live up to its name as it barely is making a dent in this creature. Gills drawn back. Drog is dead, right? Clearly has been killed by this thing and its chains. More chains are snapping off the wall. The room is now full of flying chains. The Archmage killed by some of its magic, and the whole cavern seems to be shaking and collapsing around you. Gil is made good on almost an escape, and Rug and Hilda are making their way out. You are faced with a stark choice: abandon Ron, your leader, and take those who are still living to safety, or stand here with him against this being of almost unfathomable power. Undercutting my intense moment there. As you do it, you hear this tremendous roar from outside, this shrieking roar of this creature of clearly a size and scale that you have not heard before. And again, lightning flashes, or the room is illuminated lightning. Gil, you're almost to the exit, so you're out the room and you're looking at the door. You see lightning from the sky carve a swath into the mist. And you see rocks beginning to rain from the ceiling. Some small, some as large as basketballs coming down. And you hear this cry of some creature. Yeah. Okay.
Safe.
Grenda, we're gonna start with you.
So Gron is grappled in this chain and he's being pulled.
Yeah, the thing almost has him, right? Like it's just getting ready to get its hands on him.
Can I just like attack the chain?
You could, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, she'll just kind of yell out to the others like, "Get yourself to safety. I'll get Gron." And I'll attack the chain. Okay, that's very, very good. That's 28 to hit.
That hits.
And that's 10 points of damage.
You snap the chain. So as it pulls up tension on the chain, you swing Skull Splitter through and break the link holding him. Gron's body falls to the ground. If you want to grab him and attempt to drag him out,
yeah,
you may.
That's what I'm gonna.
You're only going to get half movement, however, as you do it. It's 20 feet to the door, and it's another 10 feet past there, out of the room.
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
Go, you shiny bastard! And I'm just gonna grab him and start dragging him.
Okay. So you're gonna get 15 feet of movement, dragging Gron, I believe.
Yeah.
So you drag him. He's not quite out the door, but he's on his way out. Hilda and Brug, standing there about halfway, each of them grab you and pull you a little bit further out the chamber. As Brug turns and is pushing and puts himself between you and this figure. As they're moving out. Let's see. The figure on the dais, you can hear it shaking now as more chains begin coming loose. But you hear this magical incantation. And see Brug light up with this green energy, and then crumble into dust in front of your eyes. Crumble into dust in front of your eyes. Hilda cries out, "Drug! Or Brag! I'm gonna get it right, Brag! Fuck! Undercutting my moment again." Yeah. The chains whip around inside the chamber. Gil, you see this. You're on the cusp of that doorway. And something absolutely terrible is going on outside. As you look, you can actually see now the area around you, that sand area. It is sunk down a solid 8 feet down, and a couple things are noticeable when you look outside. One, there is a gigantic, like 30-foot across hole ripped in the ground as if something massive clawed its way out. Around that area, you see a few body parts of those Crownsguard scattered around, but you don't, or sorry, the Righteous Brand, but you don't see any of them left at all. What would you like to do?
Understandable. That 30-foot hole, is that filled in with sand?
No, it's not. It is not at all.
Gaping chasm?
Yeah. It's a bit off, like it's probably 40 feet off, so you'd have to go run over to look down in it. Again, that light is still there from the chasm, and you can see some chunks, some stalactites and other rubble from the ceiling is now on the ground around you.
Just look back at the others. I don't think we're gonna get out of the cave, but we gotta get out of here. Follow me, and when I say jump, just trust me, alright? And I'm gonna book it to the hole.
You're gonna book it to the hole.
Just to see if I can see down it with my dark vision, if I can see the bottom or anything.
Okay, you're just a little faint. Do you mind saying that again?
Just gonna run to the hole, see if I can see anything down there with my dark vision.
Okay, great. Great, so you run over to the hole and you look down and you can see just a well of blackness. You do not see the bottom.
Okay. I will ready a... No, I can't ready that because I need my reaction. I will wait at the hole for my companions so that I can cast Featherfall if we can all manage to jump down it. Because I don't think we're going to get out of this entire cavern system alive otherwise. Better to hunker down and wait for it to blow over.
Great. Okay. Gron, make me another death saving throw, please.
I'm gonna make like dwarves and get in the hole.
14.
13. Okay. It's 2 passes. All right. Once again, Brug has been killed. He's been disintegrated by this creature. Brenda, finally you freed Gron from the chain that was holding him and have managed to drag him about into the entryway, right? Brug's powdered body there. You can see Hilda looking stricken with grief and unclear on what to do. And Gil, you have now made it to this hole ripped into the ground. You're seeing this devastation around you as something is impacting the cavern, and bolts of lightning are cutting away through the mist. So that's our recap. as you're standing there, you hear another cry, and you see this massive thing fly down out of the cavern. There is this figure that just is terror and awe-inspiring all at once. This gigantic dragon with huge wings. One of its paws, its rear right leg, you can see one of its toes is missing on that foot. The creature is this majestic, deep blue on the outside. Its belly, a much lighter, gentler blue. It swoops down into the mist, and you can hear it crunching as it lands, and a roar. It looks like it's gone back in the direction of that ritual area, of that stone plaza y'all found. And Grendon, you didn't quite catch the dragon bit, although you heard that noise. It's your go. Brug is dead, or is in a pile of powder. You can see those figures out there. Gron is still in deep trouble. What would you like to do?
I'm just gonna fumble around in Gron's pockets and see if I can get the healing potion and just shove it in his mouth, hold his nose, see if I can get him to take it.
Yeah, Gron, you can get 10 points of healing. You see
It was
Gron's
like I
eyes
had the
pop open.
greater
It's a
one,
greater.
so do I get 20?
Yeah, great. Yes, you do.
I'm just slapping his cheeks a little bit.
You see his eyes open. Unlike last time, he doesn't ask, is everyone okay or what's going on, and just says, we have to get to safety.
Gets up. She's gonna turn and grab Hilda by the shoulders and just shake her a little bit until she looks at her and just say, he died bravely. He died well. He'd want you to live. Let's go.
Okay.
Gron turns upon hearing he died and doesn't even know who or how many they're talking about. Quickly just snaps out of it.
All right, Grenda, what are you gonna do? Are you moving?
I want to run. Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna
towards
move out of regular turn time, right? So y'all are gonna be able to get out of there, and you go into the main cavern area, and you see Gil standing there over this opening. Gron, you are barely clinging to life. Hilda is looking nearly dead. Grenda, I don't know your current state, but I imagine it's not great, right? None of you are doing amazing, as far as I can tell. Gil, look down into this area. It is vast, and as far as you can tell, of an indeterminate depth. Right now, what we can do, kind of go freeform, but we're gonna do it a little bit skills challengey, right? So I'm just gonna start with any of you. So whoever wants can volunteer, right? There is, as you've seen, Gil, there is a dragon that is moving about in the mists. The mists, you remember, were still full of traps and other dangers. The only safe path you know of is back towards that plaza. The only drawback being, you're pretty sure you saw this gigantic dragon land over there. Regardless, getting down and out of this area, you're now looking at this deep ditch where the sand is all drained. Looking through now, it looks like the sand is almost entirely gone. There's just this stone, almost like a little stone half pipe, or really a ditch, but except for no one dug a ditch out of stone, with some loose sand still in it. Off to the side, there is this massive hole that's been torn through from out of the center of this ditch, and out through the sides. Whoever wants to go first, tell me your plan of action and what we're gonna do to try and navigate safely out of here.
The way I see it, that dragon's in the only safe path we know. Don't know what's down the hole, but it can't be any worse than up here, right?
A dragon?
There's a big blue dragon over by the ritual.
The other option is jumping in this hole?
I can slow our descent enough that we shouldn't. The impact won't kill us.
Where does it go?
Into the darkness.
She's just gonna look at the others.
Gron's gonna untie the mage light from his belt and just throw it down the hole and try to watch the light for as far as it can go.
Yeah. She'd go down, falling into the hole, and slowly disappearing as you watch. And eventually it is swallowed with darkness. You hear rumbling as more sounds come out of that chamber before you. The pyramid cracks. What are we doing next, folks?
Rumbling was from the pyramid, not down the hole, right?
Say again?
The rumbling was from the pyramid, not down the hole, right?
The rumbling was from everywhere.
Ah, good.
Bits of ceiling are continuing to fall. Stone is coming down.
Can only
Brenda?
go once.
Anything you want to try or say? Sorry.
Were you talking to me?
Yes.
No, I don't think there's anything I can do at the moment if we're planning on going down the hole.
It's just a suggestion. It's a gamble.
I see. Start wiggling those fingers, Gil.
All right.
How many people can you feather fall at once?
Up to 6, I want to say. Let me just up to 5. I think there's less than 5 of us alive, right?
There is now.
Yeah.
Only 4 of us. Yep.
So y'all are gonna Thelma and Louise it and jump into this
Yeah.
hole?
Sure.
I will.
All right.
Having seen how far the lantern went down, I'll guesstimate a bit, just so the featherfall 1 minute duration doesn't run out before we maybe hit the bottom. Hopefully.
Yeah. So the lot of you grab hands. Take them out. Is there anything anybody wants to say before you jump down into this hole? You all have a minute. I'd like to give everybody a second to say their piece before you jump into this hole.
It's been an honor serving with you back in Uthadorn. What we did for the Graf, what we've done since then. We've seen some horrific things and fought them all off. And I don't know what awaits at the bottom of this cavern, but I have to say that no matter what, I know we'll be dining together, feasting with the Graf before we know it. Whether that's today or in the future, I'll see you there.
Brenda will just nod and say, "See you there. The great forge in the sky."
I'm hoping we're not going to die down there. You guys are the best family I've ever had.
Hilda looks. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Gil. I didn't realize you weren't that.
No. I forgot Hilda was still here. Go ahead.
Hilda wipes her eyes and she goes, "You all go. I'm gonna make this thing pay for what it did to Brug. It's been an honor."
If you insist, I understand and you're relieved from your duty. And just know that you will be joining us at that feast when the time is right.
She nods and she turns back and she runs towards the temple. Anything else y'all want to say before you jump in?
Let's hope I get the timing right on this one. Either way, we go together.
Together.
All right. You leap off into the darkness, holding hands as you fall in. And we're going to end right there, folks. Thank you for joining us for this mini-series by any means, as the three of you are plunging together into the darkness, hoping that Gil can get the timing right on that feather fall. This has been our By Any Means miniseries. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, even a small percentage as much as we've enjoyed making it, because it has been absolutely delightful from my perspective. Cast, anything we want to say?
That was epic.
That was
Fucking
amazing.
cliffhanger.
That was amazing.
Oh,
I love it.
oh God. Did we kill it?
I
Did you
think
kill
Hilda's
what?
about to just go solo, whatever it is.
The man in chains. We killed him, clearly, right?
Yeah,
What,
Hilda's
dozen
got it.
damage we got? I think
absolutely.
probably several
I think it's
hundred
hard to
HP stat
apply
block.
the term killed to something like that.
Unalived? I don't know. Unrevived?
What is dead?
How do you kill
die?
that which has no life?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
well,
I've noticed some, considering that this takes place in the same world as Best Left Buried, blue dragon popping up right near Eurosa is great. It's great.
Doesn't bode well for our other heroes.
I do not envy the main cast for having to fight whoever the hell that guy is that just woke up.
Oof.
That's going to be a problem later, I'd imagine.
Sorry. Oh wait, I have to fight that.
Yeah. You only have to apologize to yourselves.
Oh no.
yeah. So, folks, thank you so much for watching. You can, if you want to see what happens next in Best Left Buried, you can join us. You can join us next Saturday from 1 to 4 Central Time here on Twitch, or anytime over on YouTube. We post the videos a day later. I think that's most of what I want to say. Check us out on Discord. Come chat with us. Say hi. Love to hear from you. And in the meantime, we'll leave not knowing whether or not, in this case, our heroes did in fact die.
They live
right.
on in our hearts.
See you, folks.